Hello. I know it says KG Tang, but I promise that's not my name.
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How about you?
Good. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Same. Hopefully the internet won't just randomly black out in the middle of this
Yeah,
because they refuse to give me a time on when it would happen. So fingers crossed.
yeah. So I can just start from the beginning then and ask, are you originally from California?
Um, I was born in California, but I was adopted immediately
Okay.
and lived most of my life in South Carolina and Texas.
When did you move out to LA then?
I moved out to LA for let's see. It's been over 10 years now. I came out here to go to art school for the second time. Oh God, I can't even do the math right now, but I've been here for 10 plus years. Let's just put it that way.
And was acting always something that you wanted to try and pursue at some point?
So my whole life I've been drawing and acting. Those were the two loves in my life. And so yeah. But I went to school mostly for visual art, but I still did acting on the side because like, when you have a passion, it just doesn't go away.
Mhm. And is there like what's the special story of how you and KG met?
Yeah. This is gonna be so nerdy. So one of our mutuals brought me over to play Vampire the Masquerade, which I loved to play. So I was so happy to be a part of it. And instantly I had a huge crush on my husband. Um, Unfortunately for me, 2 weeks after he got together with someone else.
Mhm.
But years later they broke up and we were able to like get together and get to know each other better, and then it happened. We started dating and then we really fell in love hard.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just I mean, even before I interviewed him, like seeing all the stuff he posts on social media, it's hilarious all the time.
He is a heck of a jokester.
So what was the first paid voiceover job that you landed?
Oh my gosh, oh, what's the name of it? um oh, I don't want to do this a disservice. It's just been so long. um I got a paid audition off of a uh off of like a forum for voice actors, like new voice actors to go on and try things. And my character's name was Reese, I believe.
That's Blades of the Universe.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just been so long, but that was my first role and I was super excited about it. It was for a audio comic.
Would it have been sometime after that that you got to be in one of the Neptunia games?
Yeah, the goo lady.
Mhm.
Sexy bikini body with a dog head on the top.
Yeah.
Droplet.
How did you, because everybody I've talked to kind of has different answers as to how they took to dubbing, especially. How was it like for you?
Oh my gosh. So dubbing is certainly the hardest form of acting, in my opinion, that there is. It is. Now, granted, it depends what type of dubbing, because like for some dubbing, like for video games, when it's like the character's just on screen and there's like text at the bottom, there's no lip flap movements you have to worry about. And if there's no lip flap movements you don't have to worry about, it's fine. It's great. You get to really put your acting in there.
Mhm.
But when there's lip flaps, holy God, is it difficult? Because like well, let's say for like Japanese animation, the lip flaps for their sentences aren't going to necessarily match the lip flaps for ours. And there's all these awkward pauses in between our sentences. So that's why if you hear dubbing and you're like, well, that was a weird place to pause in the middle of a sentence, or that was a weird acting choice, it's because of the lip flaps. We have to, by law, stay within the lip flaps.
Mhm. And then what's the story of how you got into SAG?
What did I get for? Oh, that's I got into SAG by being in Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Okay.
I got I believe Taft Hartley in for that. Yeah. So that's how I got into SAG.
What was your experience working on that game?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. So I got to play the dominatrix Yumiko and I loved it. I got to also play a few choice characters in it too. I got to play an old lady that yells at my husband, so that was a lot of fun and hysterical. But the studio's beautiful. The director was great. I look back at it very fondly. It was so much fun.
And just generally so far, what do you think is the case where you've had to alter your voice the most significantly?
No, not too much. I get cast more often than not on my normal timbre or a little higher, just a bit, but not much. Um, and for creatures, just a little bit lower, because that's where a lot of the growly stuff sits.
Mhm.
But I haven't had to alter my voice too much.
Mhm. Got to be involved with Kageki Shojo as well.
My brain just died for a moment. Yeah, I got to be one of the teachers, and that was really cute and fun. That cast did a great job. Um, I have to say this, I have been very lucky because Yakuza Like a Dragon, Blue Period, Kageki, just there's so many. I've been very lucky to be put into a lot of shows with a lot of really good voice actors. I do look at that as like a huge boon because not everyone gets to be that lucky to be able to be in like all-star casts, you know?
Mhm. And what were your thoughts on stepping into the Phantasy Star franchise too? Then,
I didn't know. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know a lot about it at the time.
okay.
So I just took it on as a normal character. And then like when it came out and there was so many people really excited about it, I was like, oh, this is a bigger franchise than I thought. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, and then I had friends contacting me about it. And they're like, oh my God, this is like one of my favorite franchises. I can't believe you're in it. And I'm like, I had no idea it was as big as it was.
Mhm.
So that was cool.
Yeah. How would you relate to Ock or Ox anyway?
I I don't know if I can relate to Ak a whole lot. I guess she can be precocious sometimes, which I can be, but she's really full of herself, which I try my best not to be.
Mhm.
But the other cool thing is she has a dragon form and I love dragons, so I can take that on as a similarity between the two of us.
Okay. So then, what's your personal story of becoming involved with Blue Period?
Well, it's pretty simple. Got the audition and auditioned for it. It was, I think, one of my first non-binary roles that I got to read for, and I was really excited about that because that was newly becoming a thing.
Mhm.
And I felt really excited to represent non-binary talent. I didn't know if they were going to go straight for non-binary or not. That was kind of up in the air. But when I got it and more was revealed to me about the show, because sometimes when you get auditions, you don't get any information, you just get the character sides and good luck.
Mhm.
But once I got it and got more information about what the show was, and I found out it was on Netflix, and then I started watching it, I was psyched. I was like, oh, this is about art school. I went to art school. Oh my God, this is so great.
Yeah. Considering that too, was it really easy for you to connect with Yuka?
It was we have so many similarities that it's kind of shocking and scary, but in a good way. We're both non-binary. At least in my eyes, I see Yuka as non-binary. We are both visual artists. We are both like bi-pan. I don't know what their official status is on that because the mangaka hasn't said. We both deal with depression, self-doubt, and just a bunch of other stuff. So we have a ton in common.
Mhm.
So it wasn't really hard to step into that character because I was like, yeah, I'm living some of my truths in here.
Yeah. What was it like to be directed by Todd?
Oh, it was great. He did a great job. He really cared. He really cared about performance and he really cared about the quality of the dub. And anytime you have a director that cares that much, it means a lot
Mhm.
because some directors don't. They just need to get the project done with. And I understand that up to a point, but like a lot of us, we're showing our art. And if we can't show it to the best of our ability, it you know, it upsets a lot of us.
Mhm.
Um, so I was just really grateful that he really cared about making sure that the dub was of a great quality.
Mhm. And was it initially daunting at all for you?
I won't lie, this is my first main character in anime, so I was super nervous. But I in order to kind of stop me from being so nervous, I watched the sub over and over again. And as if the sub line, like the writing for the subs were my actual lines, I would practice that way because I wanted to make sure that I was doing this character justice because I fell in love with Yuka and I wanted to make sure that other artists and other people who felt the same way could truly identify with her and could feel their emotions through her. And that was just so important to me. So I just kept doing it over and over and over again until the day of recording. And then when we got through those episodes, I do the other episodes, continuing over and over again until it was time to record those. So yeah, it's yeah.
I know there's a couple moments that fall into this category, but what do you think is the most emotionally involved you had to get?
This is a really hard question because there were so many moments like that. And I would be lying if I said there was one moment that I felt like I was more emotional with, but I will say if I have to choose the breakup scene in episode 3.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because, and the engineer nor Todd could see me. I was in a separate room. They couldn't see me, so they don't know this. But after we got done recording the breakup scene, I had to step away from the mic, cover my hand over my mouth, and cry while they were setting up the next scene because I was truly putting my emotions into this character and I was feeling the same. So I've been panned for a long time and I have been rejected by both men and women for not being feminine enough because I'm gender fluid and I flow between that. So that scene really connected with me. And so, you know, I brought up real past emotions from that. And so I had to have a little cry. But I didn't want to worry anyone and I didn't want to hinder our time because we only had so much time. So I just tried my best to make it so no one knew that that was happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in relation to that, I guess what is the line of not wanting society to be what they want me to be? What does that mean to you?
I feel like, and this is changing, that when you are born a certain sex, people expect you to act and be a certain way. And like we've known this for a long time. And a lot of people don't feel like that's a true expression of who they are, to be boxed in by their sex. And so they want to express themselves through their true gender. And I fully support that because like I grew up like that. And this is not a dig at my mom because she didn't know anything about this at the time either. But growing up, my mom would always be like, now, Marcy, that's not very ladylike. And my response to her would always be like, well, mom, I'm not very ladylike. And so I think for me, at least, I mean, it's up to anyone's interpretation and their experience in life, what that will mean to them. But for me, it means that I refuse to be boxed in by the sex that I was born in, because that's not a true expression of who I am.
And could you also connect to the feelings that Yuka has with, you know, wanting to step out of art and going back into pursuing it? And
I can, because I get art block all the time. Also, I went to an arts high school magnet, and when you go to those, you can only pick one art form. So I picked visual art for that. It was up in the air for until like the last second if I was going to go into acting or visual art. And then I went to arts college, but long story short, due to a really bad rock climbing accident, I had to step out of college, and I went to RISD at the time. And then I came home, did some physical therapy. Then I decided to go to LCAD, which is in Laguna Beach, California. That's when I came back to California, technically, because I hadn't lived there before. But I didn't finish. I didn't finish because I went for animation, and this is no dig at anyone in animation. This is just my personal experience and my personal feelings, and probably me being severely ADHD has something to do with this. but whenever I animated for other people's projects, I hated it. I
Oh,
hated it so much. I loved animating for myself and things that I had a passion for, but I knew that if I took this as a job, I would have to animate for things I probably wouldn't be passionate about. And that was just a no-go. I couldn't do it. So I was like, well, I want to stay in animation because since I was 7 years old, this is what I wanted to do. So how do I stay in animation? And I was like, well, I want to do the voice acting side. So I took one of Crispin Freeman's voice acting classes, and then that was it. That was it. Been taking classes ever since, been working towards it ever since. But I still draw on the side, and I really hope to get back to doing more visual art because I still love doing it.
mhm. And then on the topic of people, then were there particular voice actors for anime or whatever that inspired you the most?
Crispin Freeman for sure for anime. For video games, a man named Simon Templeman. He plays Kane in Legacy of Kain, which is my favorite
Okay.
video game of all time. Both of them and their acting choices I felt were so strong in their mediums that I was like, I want to be that good, if not better one day. And so those two probably were my hardest driving forces at the very beginning. Since then, I have found other voice actors. I have just fallen in love with how hard they work. And like, you can hear it in their acting, how much they've worked to get this very natural performance. And that's what I want to do.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I'm sure you've been told this a few times now, but just going back and listening to the scenes in episode 3 and then episode 9 and 10, that was just so well done and like goosebump invoking.
Oh my God, you're very nice. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I really appreciate that. Um, well, that means a lot. I hope to get better at it because like I'll go back and watch, and of course, you know, us artists are our own worst enemies, and be like, nah, I could have done that a little better. I could have done that a little better. Ah, next time, next time, next time. Because you don't have a lot of time to revoice, but I thank you. That means a
Yeah.
lot.
And what are your like personal thoughts on Yuka's relationship with the Yaguchi?
I love it because it starts out where they obviously knew each other in school beforehand because they knew each other's names, and he dead names her, but like we have to remember, and she doesn't want that, but we have to remember in Japan, they have a different relationship with gender than America does. And I don't fully know what it is. I just know that it's different.
Mhm.
But I do like it because it starts out with them being super combative, and then instead of Yatsura being like, this is disgusting and I want nothing to do with it, he hangs out with her and he gets to know her. And even when he still doesn't understand it, he doesn't push her away. He wants to still be in her life. And then as they get closer and closer, he continues to understand a bit more each time. And that's really, and I love that. And then at the end, they're like, they've discussed so many things, relationships, their insecurities, what they want out of life. And they become really good friends. And I love that. Even when he's like, I think I understand you, but I'm not fully sure. You know, you don't have to fully understand someone to accept them. And in the end, that's what Yatura does. And I love that. If you don't have to understand, but we just all want to be accepted. And that's what matters.
Mhm. And also related to that, like the way that what are your feelings on the way that he saves Yuka and performing through that?
I thought, I have to admit, episode 10 is my favorite episode
Mhm.
because so much happens in it. There's so much vulnerability between the two of them and honesty that, you know, those scenes are rare. I feel like in a lot of media. I mean, like they happen, absolutely, but that kind of vulnerability is beautiful. And I loved that when they were at the train station and, you know, beforehand Yuka had basically thrown it in his face that like, you're not a really good friend. You're just here for me when you have time and you don't really care for me. And then when he shows up, when she's alluding to wanting to end herself, he really shows he is a friend. And he's like, no, if I have to jump in with you to save you, I will do it. I absolutely will do it. And here I am to prove it. I love that. And then as they go to the hotel and they do the beautiful art scene, just the bonding and all the different little moments. I don't want to, I assume anyone who's watching this interview has probably seen all of it, but if they haven't, I don't want to ruin all of it.
Mhm.
But there are some beautiful small moments in it, and that really shows that they're there to really understand each other and to help each other. And so I love that their relationship grows from being super combative to being almost best friends, you know?
Mhm. And more technically too, do you have a like particular process that you do for getting out of a really dark emotional scene?
Honestly, no. I am very lucky, and I'm gonna guess it has to do with my ADHD, that my brain once after entering it, after a few minutes I can get out of it. Like, for example, when I was talking earlier about how I had to have a cry afterwards,
Mhm.
I just have to have, I guess, a momentary emotional release, and then I'm right back. I'm fine. But I haven't had to deal with I feel like probably what will probably be the most traumatic for me in the future is if I ever have to deal with a death scene. I think that will probably be really hard. But for the scenes that I've had to deal with, since a lot of them were very true to my real life, I've already dealt with those issues.
Mhm.
So no, it was very easy to snap back into actor mode.
Mhm. And what would you like personally like to see with Yuka's journey?
Okay, so I have a lot to say about this because okay, so fans correct me if I'm wrong, but in the anime at the end, she says something like I think it's in episode the second to last episode. She's like, um, oh, what was it that she said? That she wanted to make clothes and she wanted to get out of her house, which great, toxic family, get out, and she wants to pursue fashion. I was kind of hoping she'd go to fashion school, but man, if she can just do fashion on the side, work somewhere that makes clothes, great. That's what I would want for her. I do, if you read the manga,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of upset by this, once this arc ends, like this season, my character disappears.
Yeah.
My character like drops from existence and like comes back in chapter 34 just to say hi, no update on what their life is, no update on what they're doing, just hi, and then once again pops out of existence. And I think I don't know how far the manga has got at this point, but I believe in Japan they're at chapter 49,
Right.
and or maybe it's further at this point, I don't remember, but still no Yuka. And so I'm really upset because I want to know where her arc went.
Mhm.
I really want to know what happened to her. Did she find someone to be her partner? Like, I really want her to be happy and do what she's good at. She's really good at fashion. If you see the little pieces of art she did for fashion, she's pretty dang good. So I I hope her arc continues at some point. And I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of fan backlash in Japan and in America about Yuka not being there.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes the anime will be different than the manga a bit. So I'm hoping they bring her back more for the anime, but like, who knows?
Mhm. And then on the lighter side of things, like what were your thoughts on the like maid outfit scene and
I thought that was cute. Yeah, so I thought that scene was adorable. She wanted to date someone and she had the gumption to ask, and I pitched my voice higher for that because she wanted to be seen as more feminine. And so I did that and I felt like that came through. And it's really the scenes after that that are more emotional. But yeah, I thought the asking out scene was really cute.
Mhm. And do you have a personal preference to like working on drama opposed to comedy? It's probably obvious to ask, but
Oh, it's not obvious. It's totally okay. Honestly, I don't. Though I won't lie, I do really like to act out trauma, but I also really love comedy too. I'm working harder to be better at comedic timing. Um, but drama is great. And the reason why I like drama so much is because I can take real emotions that I've had and been bottled up and release them during acting. And that release is so healthy
Hmm.
and so freeing that that's why I really like drama. But I can't lie, I love comedy too. So I don't know if I have a preference, but maybe my emotions do.
Hmm. And is there something, even with how much you relate to Yuka, is there something new that you learned about yourself while performing her?
That's a good question. I gotta be honest, I don't know if I did. Because again, we're so similar. The only difference is my home life was not abusive. It wasn't bad. I had very supportive family who, even though they're super left brain academic types, so they didn't know what to do with me and they didn't
Oh,
know quite how to react to the way that I expressed myself through my art, but they still did their best to support me and love me, and that's what mattered.
mm,
So I guess seeing the abusive side of being of parents, while not something I was completely unknown to, uh, it was a new experience, I suppose.
mm.
But other than that, I don't think I did. And I know that's an awful answer, but that's just the truth.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping to do a really cute blue period art piece soon. So I'm hoping I get back into visual art because like that and watching other artists art,
Mhm.
it's inspiring and it really makes you want to do it again.
Mhm. So is there anything else that's upcoming that you're part of that you can safely talk about, or
Unfortunately not. The demons of the NDA are in play.
okay?
I wish I could though.
Well, and of course your career is still blossoming, but my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
I don't know if I have specifically a choice for legacy, but I do know there are some characters or character types I'd love to play. One thing that my husband and I want as a goal is we really want to play a couple in an anime.
Hmm.
We really want that to happen one day. We don't care if what happens. I mean, we would love it more if it was a loving couple, but we'd have fun with it no matter what. But that's our big thing. And as a side thing, I hope to one day be a goddess or some type of god. I hope to be some kind of I'm a few monsters in a few games, but I want to be some kind of really messed up, big, scary creature. And for a hope one day that is really a shot in the dark, probably will never happen. But if Capcom ever makes a female Bison, I want to voice in Bison.
Okay.
But that's a full shot in the dark. But yeah, the big one is I hope to be able to voice a couple with KG.
Okay. And is there something that you want people to take away from your performances so far?
Um, well, specifically from Yuka, because I feel like that's the most feeling emotional, like discovering character, because she's discovering her gender and everything. I hope people who are questioning their gender, and people who don't understand that kind of get a viewpoint from all of this.
Mhm.
And they go, okay, well, maybe I feel that way too, but I'm, I'm not sure, but maybe I feel that way. Or if someone doesn't understand this, maybe through the anime, they'll be like, huh, okay, maybe I don't fully understand this, but I think I'm getting it. Or if someone fully gets it, great.
Mhm.
Also, so since it's an art anime, I hope it awakens the need to do art in everyone. Because while you may be like, I'm not naturally talented, it doesn't matter. Everyone can do it.
Mhm.
Everyone can do it. You just got to work at it. And it is so satisfying to make something with your own hands, whatever art form you choose. It doesn't have to be drawing. But when you make something with your hands, it's amazing.
Mhm. Well, thank you. I'm glad that this worked out.
I am too. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.